The word Helianthus mightn't mean much, unless, of course, you speak a bit of the Greek, like I do. And then you'll know that I'm talking about these magnificent flowering giants. Helianthus is the Greek word for sunflower. Ilios is the sun, anthos means flower. And this vast sea of sunflowers is the work of flower farmers Marika and John Saliba. So, Marika, why sunflowers?
Well, you can see the yellow is just so beautiful and bright, and they're the happiest flower in the world, and I've always loved them. I drew them as a child, and yeah, they've never left me. They're my passion.
And John, where did the farm itself begin?
Yeah, so I was a landscaper prior to this. My body was telling me to give it up. America loved flowers. We knew our ground was fertile, so let's give sunflowers a go and see how we go, take them to the market, and then, yeah, that's how it started.
They've turned over a big chunk of the family farm in Kurmond at the foot of the New South Wales Blue Mountains to growing these monster blooms. Sunflowers come in about 70 different varieties. John and Marika have focused on two popular classics, the Helianthus annuus chocolate gold, a stunning multi-head variety, and the Helianthus annuus Arikara, the common sunflower. Marika, people tend to have a fairly limited perspective on sunflowers, of just the stock standard single.
Yeah, but surprisingly, they're not. So we can, source some different seeds, and they come in multi-colours and branching forms as well.
So, John, as a farmer, you've grown a lot of different varieties.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite sunflower child?
Yeah, there's always a standout, and the standout's always the yellow. We're always trialling different varieties and seeing what may work better than the other, but we always come back to the yellow.
And what is it about the yellow that...
It seems to just stand up to all the weather, and it's just a bit more vigorous. It sort of just stands its ground, and these other varieties, they're really nice, but they probably wouldn't stand up as well as what the yellow would.
So they're probably more suited to a garden situation.
That's correct.
But whether you're growing them on your farm or in your garden, be prepared for them to get big. This specimen is less than 3 months old. I love to associate with the rebels that stand out in the pack. This one here, look at it. It's, probably around the 2.2 metres tall. Now, your average sunflower's a bit like me, 1.6, maybe 1.7 on a big hair day. But some of them can reach up to 4 or even 5 metres. And when you get into that league, I think you need to call local air traffic control and just let them know that you're impinging on the airspace from the depths of your garden. I love it. What a feature. Even the flower heads can be huge. They're up to 30 centimetres across on the single-headed varieties. And you don't need to look very far to see that they are an absolute banquet for all types of pollinators. These outer petals here are called ray florets, and they surround this extraordinary central disc, which is made up of hundreds of tiny flowers that are designed in a beautiful interconnected spiral. And there can be a couple of thousand little flowers on the head of a big sunflower. And each one that's pollinated can grow a seed. When you start to see these ray florets falling off, that means that the entire sunflower head is getting close to maturity. And what that means is, if you give it just a gentle rub, you'll start to see all the seeds here. And you can understand then why the head starts to bend forward, because this gets incredibly heavy with that many seeds there. And when it comes to growing your own sunflower garden, it couldn't be easier. Sunflowers are a handy addition to any garden bed, no matter how big or small, or even a pot. Depth-wise, you want to plant them about double the the depth of the seed. So, you know, I want it to go in about that much. The closer they are, the more they're competing for the resources there, so they won't get as tall. So if you want them tall, separate them, you know, 20, 30 centimetres, and they'll get a little bit taller, like about as my height. But if you put them a bit closer, they'll be like a little cluster, like a little pack of happiness. So yeah, give it a go. If some come up and some don't worry, try again. Another way that I like to use sunflowers is to plant them out like a bit of a forest. And much like Marika and John here, you want to get that big, dense, open field-like feel. And I do that on my street garden. And the way I do it, I plant it usually about October, and I fill the whole space with sunflowers. It's a really simple thing to do, and sunflowers are pretty bulletproof. They'll achieve it for you. You'll enjoy sunny sunflower magic all summer and into autumn if you plant a handful of seeds every month or so from the end of winter. But be warned, birds love sunflower seeds and they'll dig them up out of the ground. When your seedlings are young though, there's another pest to worry about. Now, sunflowers, generally speaking, look pretty resilient when you see them standing up there strong and tall, but when they're small, they're susceptible to insect attack like any other plant, particularly as seedlings. Caterpillars love to get on them and have a good feed. So make sure you have a good look underneath and see if there are any caterpillars there. If there's only one or two, of course, you can remove them. If there's a lot more, you can spray them with neem oil or some dipel. Another interesting little tip that John suggested is put a couple of sacrificial corn plants in amongst your sunflowers because the grubs love those as well and will tend to congregate there first. Marika and John plant a new crop every 4 weeks because these days the farm has become a popular destination in its own right.
John had suggested that we would share the flowers with the community and, yeah, share the joy and love of flowers.
John and Marika's farm has become a magical backdrop for the perfect selfie.
You know, there's people walking around everywhere, kids running from the left to the right, and we love that. Just seeing people happy, we're happy. People are so appreciative that they can actually get out here on the farm, pick their own sunflowers, be with Mother Nature, and it's just growing and growing and growing.
All right, John, come round a bit. Lift that sunflower up. So, yeah, put it up near your face. Oh, yeah, look at you. You are beautiful. Ah, Marika, the blue sky and your blue shirt and the gold sun. Oh, that's a beauty. You are beautiful. You're coming with me. We're back at the sunflower farm. And it's time for the serious business of flower arranging. Marika and John put so much love into the growing of their flowers, so they don't want them just to get back to your place within a day or two and go sort of, oh, I miss the farm. From the moment you snip them, you need to put them straight into a bucket of water. That way, the flower is constantly taking up moisture. The other key thing is you want a really sharp pair of secateurs or scissors or a blade. The next step is your vase. It's really important that you make sure that the vase is clean because if there's any bacteria in there, that bacteria will transfer into your plants and knock them around. They won't survive as well. Now, the liquid that goes in here is critical. You'll probably know these little sachets when you go to the florist. These is what's known as flower preservative, but you can actually make it yourself. It's really simple. First of all, half a teaspoon of bleach to go into the water. That helps deal with any bacteria that may be in the water. You need some sugar, some carb for the plant to keep strong. And then you can use either some vinegar or a little bit of lemon, and that'll stop your plants from rotting away too quickly. Next step is the arranging, and that's the creative part. And you can start to play with levels. The other thing to bear in mind when you're at the farm, don't pick them all open. Have different ages, because if they're all open, they're all then going to fall apart and die at the same time. When you come to that next cut, once you've decided your height, make sure you put it on a nice 45 degrees, because what that does is prevent that cross-cut crush, which will make it more difficult for those cells to transfer the water up to the plant. And then I chose this one because it's a multi-header. And so as these ones finish up the top, these little brothers and sisters are going to flower down the bottom. That's starting to look okay. I'm getting impressed with my work. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I've added our preservative mix to this container and then put some lukewarm water into that. And that just makes for a nice, warmer, subtle environment for the plants to settle into in the container. So I'll put that in there. And the final step is to place the vase in a nice bright space, but not direct sun. And to get the most out of your sunflower tower here, make sure that you keep an eye on them and change the water roughly every 2 to 3 days. With all those little details, you should get at least maybe 2 to 3 weeks out of your beautiful sunflower tower.